The second man to step foot on the moon was astronaut Buzz Aldrin. Born in New Jersey as Edwin Eugene Aldrin Jr., he got the nickname Buzz from his sister. She couldn't pronounce brother and instead called him Buzzer. His family shortened it to Buzz. He made it legal in 1988. Third in his class at West Point, a fighter pilot in Korea, an MIT education, then a NASA astronaut. Part of the Gemini 12 crew, Aldrin completed an historic 5-hour spacewalk, and then Apollo 11.
Apollo 11 was about exploration, about taking risks for great rewards in science and engineering, about setting an ambitious goal before the world.
Aldrin, now 89, remains a passionate advocate for human space exploration, calling for a return to the moon, and then Mars.
Before the break, Houston space reporter Roseanne Aragon introduced you to some of the major players in mission control.
Now, their story continues as they take us step by step through a mission that changed the world. They were engineers, scientists, technicians from all across the country.
But in this room in July of 1969, they were a team of Houstonians that made history.
It was the week of July 16th, 1969.
I got out of the car and I thought, you know, we have trained so long. And I thought, okay, this is the day we're going to do it.
So let's do it.
Tough and competent.
We became hard, still hard.
Teamwork and diligence.
You've never seen teamwork like you have until you work at NASA.
Duty and determination.
We knew we were going to go all the way.
Commander Neil Armstrong made it clear this was for everyone.
And the last line says, "We came in peace for all mankind." I think that's precisely what we mean.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal.
On July 16th, on historic launch pad 39A at Cape Canaveral, the Saturn V catapulted the spacecraft to a maximum velocity of 25,000 miles per hour.
Every second, it meant that those humans were going faster than anyone had ever gone, and that they were leaving the Earth.
Columbia, Houston, we'll have LOS at 101.
Around 100 hours into the flight, after successfully entering lunar orbit, Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin transferred into the snug lunar module.
The LEM looks to be in pretty fine shape. About all we can see from here.
Command module pilot Michael Collins stayed in Columbia, orbiting the moon, ready to help.
Listen, Dave, everything's going just swimmingly. Beautiful. Great. We're standing by for Eagle.
Collins' role was critical. He was their lifeline should things go wrong. But with failure not an option, it was time.
The descent was roughly about 12 minutes long, and it was a battle.
Verify that both S-band breakers are in, over.
Communicating with the astronauts was Capcom controller Charlie Duke.
It was really tense in mission control. As the closer we got, the more tense it became.
Painstaking calculations and razor-sharp checkpoints. Mission control hung tough.
Are we going to get the landing radar? Because the crew was descending to the moon with information we provided them from the ground, which could have been several thousand feet in air.
The way they flew, Neil was looking out the window all the time, and Buzz was reading altitude and speed and things like that to him.
The crew was landing long, headed towards a crater. Then
1202 alarm.
You know them so well that you know inherently by the tone of their voice and everything like that what's going on.
Give us a reading on the 1202 program alarm.
an unfamiliar alarm.
The computer was basically running out of time to do all the functions it had to do.
We're going, that alarm?
Laid the burden upon me to say, do we have enough data to continue?
With little time to troubleshoot, Guidance Officer Steve Bales made the call. It was just a nuisance alarm.
Roger, we got you. We're going, that alarm.
But now the crew was running extremely low on fuel.
We're moving towards our abort limit, but we'll watch it pretty close.
Eagle, Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
But then...
1201. Roger, 1201 alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go. We're go, same type, we're go.
Another nuisance, but the relief was short-lived. They had less than a minute before they ran out of fuel.
60 seconds.
Are they going to make it? Are they going to make it?
Picking up from 30 seconds.
In mission control, we have handles on the television in there. You grab that handle and you're holding on for life.
With just seconds to go, Armstrong, a seasoned test pilot, picked a smoother place to land in the Sea of Tranquility.
He knew where he was, and he knew where he was in that process.
4 forward, drift into the right level.
About the time we would have said 15 seconds, we recognized the crew's going through engine shutdown.
Contact light.
The team had done it for the world.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
And that was the way I felt. The whole room was that way.
People watched from all over the world. Though in mission control, a short-lived moment and back to work. Just upstairs in the viewing room, uncontrollable joy.
The people in the viewing room were what broke the code. They started stamping and cheering and everything else. All of a sudden, this noise filters into the room, and my controllers start to catch it.
Okay, keep the chatter down in this room.
This team on Earth helped put the American flag on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
At the moment it happened, you had a sense of pride, exhilaration.
This certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made from the White House. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you have done.
But the mission wasn't over.
Unfortunately, we were so involved in the technical aspects of it that we kind of missed the wow part of it.
After 8 days on July 24th, 1969, the Apollo 11 capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean.
Anytime you get the crew back on Earth, that's successful.
And only then did this team truly realize the gravity of what man had done.
Walked down the car and cried. It dawned on me what we had done.
It lifted the whole country.
And 50 years later,
In the mornings when I'd go out and to get the paper, I would look up and see the moon and say, by God, we were there. And so yeah, I looked at it differently.
This is a very precious time for, I think, everyone in the room, because we'd like to do it over again, only join the rest of the world celebrating the landing.
Still ahead, making the lunar landing the ultimate viewer experience.
We had one that just, a button that was just labeled moon.
How KPRC made it possible for the world to see the first steps on the moon.
And next, a step back in time. What this mystery canister reveals about Neil Armstrong.